Hey everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming by today. While you're watching this, I will be on a little trip. I have to go to Boston for some family stuff. And so I have traveling on the brain, especially since we now know we are moving in December and we're going to be driving back to San Diego. And we are hopefully going to go on a vacation when we get back. And so I just have a lot of travel on the brain, and I've always wanted to share this collection with you. So I'm trying to be more of a minimalist. I definitely have areas in my home that I truly am a minimalist, and in general I have way less stuff than I used to. But one area of my home that I just have a lot of, and it's just a little collection that just makes me so incredibly happy, are my magnets. This is such a weird video and I apologize, but I've always wanted to share with you all the trips that we've gone on. Not to be braggy or to, I don't know, show off because we have gone to all these places. It's more just like informative, I guess, or they just make me so happy, all my little magnets, because they just remind me of such great memories. And we are fortunate enough that we do travel quite a bit. We have a lot of ways that we have saved for these trips, and we aren't going on extravagant, crazy trips. We know ways to cut costs. It's not like we spend a crazy amount of money on travel, but we do like to have it as a priority. We do like to save for it. We will cut things here and there in our everyday life so we can travel. So I just love to. I just love to travel. And so I wanted to share with you all of our magnets from the trips that we've gone on, and I'll also share with you pictures and what I thought of the trip, if I would recommend it. I also want to give you our top 5 trips that we've ever gone on. First off, we have when we were first dating. So this video is also going to be kind of comical because you'll actually see me when I was like super skinny and now I'm not. So, you know, fun times. But when we were first dating, we got the State of Maine Park Passport. And I won't go too much into depth about that, but if you are from Maine or you want to know about it, we camped at all of them. So we went to Lubec, Maine. So this is the magnet I have for that adventure. We did end up finishing the whole entire passport, getting all, was it 48 stamps? So it was a lot of fun, but Lubec, Maine is one of the first ones that we got because we went on a camping trip all the way to the East Coast. If you don't know, Lubec, Maine is the easternmost town in the US. So we ended up getting this when we went to West Quaddy, which is the lighthouse there. We got engaged. We did end up going on we did go on like a couple small like day trips every now and again, but the next major vacation for us was when we went to Virginia. And this is a very spur of the moment trip. We planned it within like a week, and we went down to Virginia for a week. We drove down and we went to Washington, D.C. For some reason, I don't have any pictures of this trip. I know that we were really getting into wine during that trip, and we went to a lot of different vineyards and drank a lot of wine. So I'm wondering if we just wasn't coherent enough to have some pictures taken. I think there's like one, I don't know if I could find it, but it's like us in front of the Washington Monument, but it's like, I don't know, that trip was like in the abyss somewhere. But we did get some magnets, so we have these to remember it by. We have the Luray Caverns, which is a really cool like underground cavern. I'd gone there once when I was a kid, and that was just really cool to see it again. And then we are huge history buffs, and so we were able to go to Jefferson's home at Monticello. And so we got this little magnet here. And that was we actually gone to a few different historical homes. If you like history stuff, Virginia is the place to go because there's just so much there. There's just so much history there in general. After we got married, we did go to Disney World for our vacation for like 3 weeks, which is absolutely fantastic. We loved that trip. We don't have any magnets from that one, but I'll show you a picture of us on our honeymoon. So yay, we got married. I feel like this video is like our relationship history. So after we got married, Dave traveled a ton for work. He works for a government contractor for the US Navy, and so he was just traveling a lot, and he was in Virginia, and he was interviewing for a spot in San Diego. Now, we were originally from Maine, so he was interviewing for a spot in San Diego. He was currently in Virginia for a work trip, and he got back on a Wednesday. We were leaving on Friday to go to the Bahamas, And he got back on Wednesday, he went to work Thursday, and they're like, you got the job, do you want to go? And they said we had to make our decision that day because they knew that we were leaving for a week to go to the Bahamas. And so he called me up from work and he was like, hey, I got the job, are we moving to San Diego? And I was just like, yeah, the job. And then we went to the Bahamas the next day. When we came back, we were already packing up to move, and we had like 3 weeks to move. So it was just insane. Like, so this magnet just makes me happy because it's just like a whole life-changing adventure happened right after this. So we did end up getting a little flip-flop when we went to the Bahamas. We did go with a couple friends of ours. And now we are driving across the country. We are going from Maine to San Diego, and it was definitely an interesting car ride because we have 2 cats in the back. So we had Mo at that time and we had Ziggy. They were both in the back seat. They were fantastic the whole entire trip. But the first stop that we went on was Niagara Falls. So that was one stop that we were able to do. It was really beautiful. We did end up going on the Canadian side and doing a couple things over there. The Canadian side just has so much more than the US side. I have to apologize for Oliver. He's like playing over there. But so the first stop was Niagara Falls. The second stop was when we went to the Arch in St. Louis. Next, we went to the Grand Canyon, which is one of the stops we want to do when we go back this time too, because since then I do know how to work a camera, or there I didn't. I don't know if I even have a picture when we went to the Grand Canyon, because I don't know if I even do. But anyways, we went to the Grand Canyon. This is the magnet from that. We definitely want to spend more time there because we only had like a couple hours. And I also got this one too, which is kind of cool. And then when we first arrived in California, we were living downtown in San Diego. We were living in a hotel for a couple months while we were getting situated and finding a place to live. And so the first night that we got there, we went to the Gaslamp while we were living in the Gaslamp district. And we got this little magnet here. I think we got this at Hard Rock, I'm not sure, but it's a little guitar. And then the first week that we lived there, we ended up getting our Disney passes, which we got this, which is our annual passport magnet, and then we also got our zoo passes. And we've gone to those quite a bit. That's like our entertainment in San Diego. So we have like this little elephant from the safari park, but we go to the zoo as well. So the first year that we lived in San Diego, traveled, I think it was like a quarter of the year he was not in San Diego. He was like in other places. And so he went to Hawaii quite a bit. I think he spent a couple months there in total. So one time I did tag along on the trip, and so we went to Hawaii. And so we went to the Polynesian Cultural Center, which I love this magnet here. It's like a little tiki guy, which is really cute. But that was the highlight of our trip. If you, again, are history people, the Polynesian Cultural Center, it's on Oahu. It is amazing. It is so cool. We could have spent at least like 3 days there. There's so much to do. There's so much history if you like Polynesian culture, or you're just like, that was just an area of the world we just didn't know much about. And so we absolutely loved that. We also just have a magnet that's like a little surfboard that we got at the hotel. And then we have one from Pearl Harbor, which was also a really interesting experience. We had gone on a tour, which is definitely the way to go because we just learned so much on that tour. And then we have just a picture of us right there, with I keep on the fridge. We also, like, for a smaller trip, we went to Sequoia National Park. It was just like a long weekend trip. So I have this magnet, which is a really cool, I think it's just like, what, 4-hour drive from San Diego. I know that we had like free nights with his work through Marriott, so we were able to stay in a Marriott close by, and it was a very inexpensive trip. I remember that one. We also went to Julian a lot, which is a really cool like mountain town in San Diego, well, in San Diego County, but it's an old like mining town. And you can also go to Mount Laguna. So I have this one from Mount Laguna. But that's just like a day trip. We would always go there. They have a really beautiful view. It's just a nice drive. It's really good to go in the fall because they have like apple picking, and it's just like a little bit of country that we sometimes miss. So we love going to Julian. We also, this is one of our favorite trips. is when we went to Lake Tahoe. We would go back every single year if we could. We absolutely loved this trip. It was just so relaxing, so calming. We just really, it felt like it was rejuvenating because we were working a lot, both of us, and this was, again, a very spur-of-the-moment trip. We planned it within like 2 weeks. So we went to Lake Tahoe, and we got this little magnet, which was cool because it was actually made there from like local wood, so that's kind of cute. And then we also have this one from Yosemite because we did drive there, so we were able to stop in Yosemite, which was absolutely gorgeous. Right after we got back, the next week we ended up going to Las Vegas because my brother-in-law was in Las Vegas with my sister, and he is a professional arm wrestler, so he was in like the world championship, so we went there to support him. So we did go to Las Vegas and got this little magnet here. I mean, it was good to go once, but I don't think Vegas is like our destination. And then we went to the Hoover Dam, which was so hot. I ended up getting heat stroke when I was there, and I was like dying. So yeah, it was a brutal day, but we went to the Hoover Dam, which is cool. And then the next big trip, besides like day trips and such, we went on our cruise. We went on our first cruise for our 5-year wedding anniversary, and we celebrated it with Dave's dad and his stepmom. They came with us because they were celebrating his 75th birthday, I believe. So we went on our first cruise, and so we went to Belize, which was really interesting. We went to Honduras, which we have this little guy. We went to Cozumel, which I have 2 from Cozumel. So we have a little sombrero. And then we have this little sea turtle. We definitely want to go on another cruise, but I think we were thinking about doing a cruise in Europe. So I don't know if we do like Mediterranean or like Scandinavian, but that's like the cruise that we want to go on. And then we are getting towards the end of our time in San Diego. We went on a big family trip with my family. We all went to Florida, so we all met down there, and it was a week-long trip with them, and then we stayed an extra week afterwards. So for that trip, we ended up going to Premier for our passports for San Diego, so I have that one, just because it was a lot cheaper for us to do it that way versus getting individual tickets for Disney World, and plus we got free parking. So we saved a ton of money going to this since we were already Disneyland pass holders. And so we got this little guy from going to Disney World with my family. And then my parents surprised us and got us tickets for all of us to go to SeaWorld. So we ended up going to SeaWorld, which was really, really fun. And then last year, right before we moved, we ended up going to Maine. We wanted to go home to visit family. I don't know if we already knew that we were moving, but it was a very spur-of-the-moment trip again. I think we planned it in a couple weeks. We're very good at last-minute planning, but we ended up going to New Hampshire. We stayed in New Hampshire, but my parents live right on the border, so we were able to go to Maine too. So we have 2 little magnets. We have Break for Moose. It could save your life. So we went to New Hampshire, and we have a Maine one. And now for this year, I have quite a few magnets from this year because you guys know I went on a big road trip, and we are getting towards the end of my magnet collection. So we did end up going to New Orleans for a day, and this is a place we want to go before we leave. So we hope to have a couple nights there if he has time off from work. But we went to New Orleans for a day, and it was really fun. It was just a very spur-of-the-moment road trip. We were just bored one Sunday, and we were like, let's go take a drive, and we ended up in New Orleans, so that was really cool. We also went on a trip to Jackson, Mississippi, and we stayed in a beautiful bed and breakfast. It was absolutely gorgeous, a little tiny inn, and so we went to the Mississippi Science Museum, and then the next trip we went on was a weekend trip to Natchez, and we went to Vicksburg, so we ended up getting a magnet from Vicksburg, which again, if you're a history person, was really cool. They have like an audio thing you can use with your phone, or they also have a CD for your car, and you can like go to all the different points. It was really cool. We enjoyed that a lot. And then I went on my road trip this summer So the first stop was Cloudland Canyon State Park in Georgia, where I did a couple hikes. It was just a day trip. And then after my trip with my family in Maine, I took a longer time going back down. And so the first stop was Vermont. And I love this little guy, but it's hard to show it to you. So it's a little tiny moose. And his hands and his legs are magnetized. This is my little moose from Vermont, which was absolutely beautiful. I loved Vermont. The people were really rude though. I don't know. I have Oliver. Aw, hey babe. He's part of my cat collection. Okay. I also went to, I also went to Niagara Falls again on my own to the Canadian side and did way more than we had done when it was just the two of us because I just had more time. So I went to Niagara Falls. So that's a picture of Horseshoe Falls from the Canadian side. Again, recommend that. I also went to Ohio, and I didn't have any magnets that I liked in Ohio, so I got this thing. It's just like a little tiny, like, I don't know, it's just, I liked it. And I did end up going to Kentucky as well, to Mammoth Cave National Park. So I went there, but I wasn't able to go in the caves, unfortunately, because it was flooded due to a big thunderstorm, so I couldn't go in there. But I'll show you a picture of where I stayed the night before, which was at a vineyard, which is really cool. So I was able to do that. And then when I got back, we did end up going on a weekend trip to Hot Springs, Arkansas. And this is one of my favorite magnets because it's a little bathtub. Isn't it so fun? It's a little bathtub, and oh my gosh, I love this one. It has like a little bath brush, and it's probably like one of my favorite magnets. So the top 5 vacations we've ever gone on are all ones that were very relaxing. We like to do a few like exploring type things, but I feel like a lot of the vacations we like on are very just chill, not like amusement parks or like crazy exploring. So the first one that I would recommend is the Bahamas. We went to Freeport, Bahama, which is a very calmer island than Nassau. And so Bahamas was so much fun, so just, I mean, it was a resort destination, and it was a blast. We had met a bunch of people there because, I mean, your resort is your destination again, so you just like, everyone stays the same amount of time, and so it was just so much fun going there. We just met a bunch of people, and we would do things together, and it was just a lot of fun. The next one I would recommend is Hawaii. I know it's expensive to fly there, but if you can do it, I would recommend it because it was absolutely beautiful. The landscape is fantastic. Again, if you're a history person, you're going on Oahu, then the Polynesian Cultural Center was probably one of our favorite things that we've done exploring wise in general in like all of our trips. We absolutely loved it. Another vacation we really enjoyed is Virginia. Again, we like history, but it was also just another relaxing vacation. If you like wine, there's so many vineyards, and if you like history, there's so much history. So for us, it was just a really great vacation for us. One of our favorite trips, I would probably say this is our favorite trip, was Lake Tahoe. We just absolutely loved it. It was so relaxing, so chill. I mean, it's just like the fresh air is ridiculous. It's just, it was such a different experience than living in San Diego. So we just really enjoyed Lake Tahoe. It was absolutely stunning. We stayed in Squaw Valley, so it wasn't right on the lake, but it was just really, it was awesome. I loved it. And then finally, we loved our cruise. Again, it has so many different things about a cruise that kind of combines like all different types of vacations in one, because you have like the party scene, you have the relaxing on the beach, you have the exploring of the history if you're going on excursions, you have great food, you have just like a resort type experience because you have like different things and you like meet people. So we loved our cruises as well, and we would definitely go on another. So those are the top 5 trips that we've gone on. Again, I didn't want to make this video to seem very braggy, but I've always wanted to share with you all the trips that we have gone on, and I will put up pictures for every trip if I can find them so you can see. But I have travel on the brain. Again, as you're watching this, I'm in Boston, and then when I come back, I'm gonna have to pack up to go to San Diego. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see the Maine state passport video, I will do that. Or if you want other types of travel videos, or whether tips or saving tricks, let me know. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.